Almost over, and I am running down some of my favorite books of the year so far. Welcome back to my channel. It is Candace with a K here, where I normally talk about books, beauty, and kicks. And here we go. In the year 2022, I have read so far 27 books. I am a part of a Goodreads challenge. I hope that you use Goodreads. It's a great platform. Be sure to follow me on Goodreads. It's linked down below, but I am doing the challenge where I'm trying to read 30 books this year. So I am ahead of schedule. I should at least hit 30. But out of the 27 books I've read so far, I want to share with you guys some of my favorites, because maybe they're your favorites too, or maybe it's something that you can add to your TBR or to be read list. Let's get right into it. Favorite book of the year, hands down, has been Memphis. Memphis by Tara M. Springfellow. If you have not read this book, go get it right now. I'll have it linked down below so that you can purchase it, have it delivered to your house, read it on your Kindle, however you need to do it, read it. I think it was such a well-written book about the generations, within a family. I think it just was so warm, and it was a very comforting read to read about these Black women and them moving through life and Memphis and all of that. So asterisk to Memphis though is that I recently learned that there is some problems, or the author of the book is a little problematic. And I don't know how I feel about that, because it is one of the best books that I read this year, but I also don't want to encourage problems, or encourage people to engage with such problems. I don't know much about the issues or the situations with said author, but a lot of the folks in the book community aren't feeling Tara, however you say her name. And that's unfortunate, because she has a talent, she has a gift, and hopefully she could rectify some of those issues so that we can continue to enjoy her art. Next book that I really enjoyed was Honey and Spice. There's some issues or confusion, or maybe everybody's not feeling Honey and Spice, and that's fine, because we're not all supposed to like the same things. But I enjoyed Honey and Spice. I thought it was a great look at, romance and relationships within a college atmosphere. It had the nice wit and the humor. It was an easy read. It wasn't overcomplicated, but it touched on a lot of issues that I wish I would have been able to really engage in as I was in college. So if I was reading it at that age, I thought it was a good book. But it seems like people are kind of unsure about it, and they're on the fence about it. Or I saw it on a lot of DNF or do not finish lists. And that's unfortunate, because I enjoyed it. And so that was one of my favorites. Now, if you're into cultural commentary and books that kind of sway to that side, you'll really enjoy reading Bad Fat Black Girl. That was actually one of the best cultural commentary books I've ever read, and I don't read a lot of them, so that's not really a good judge, but that was one of the best that I read, and I really rocked with it. Like, I think she was able to really dissect and uncover a lot of things that we have in normal conversations offline, but she was so eloquently able to put them into words, and that, you did that, girl. You did that. Another one along the lines of cultural commentary for me was also, this was more so music commentary, but also still kind of cultural, is Shine Bright. Shine Bright was such a good overview and outlook on the women that shaped popular music. So we got into the Diane Warwicks, the Donna Summers, the Diana Ross. It really spotlighted these key players that shaped pop music today. And it even uncovered some things about women that I just was not super familiar with, but I was able to get that small snippet of history about these women, and I really enjoyed that. One of my critiques of the book, of course, is that Beyonce wasn't highlighted even more, but that's just me being a active Hive member. But the author does kind of break down why Beyonce is not spotlighted in the book, because she is kind of referencing her particular like the ones that were influential in her view of pop music. So She does talk about B, but I wish that she was talked about more. People really fail to realize how influential Beyonce has been on popular music. And I don't think she specifically does not realize that, because she does acknowledge it, but people really be trying to downplay Beyonce like Beyonce is not pop music. Wrap it up. But Shine Bright was a good one. So this year I actually read 5 rom-coms. It's like, girl, get a boyfriend. But I think they're all very unique and they all should be highlighted, because I'm realizing that I'm a rom-com girl and it's just time for me to step into it and accept it and share with the world. So I read By the Book by Jasmine Guillory, The Hookup Plan by Farrah Roshan, Good Morning Love by Ashley Coleman, Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory, as well as Do You Take This Man by Denise Williams. They're all were great. And so I'm only highlighting those because that is the genre I really rocked with this year. And so if you have any rom-com recs, please put them in the description below. Have any rom-com recs, please put them in the comments down below. And so lastly, I have to highlight the author, because I read 2 books by this author this year that I both enjoyed, and that's Awake Emezi. I'm sorry, girl, but I love your books. So I read The Death of Vivek OG. Hope I'm saying that right. As well as You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. And both are outstanding. That's all I could say. They're both outstanding. Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty was so unique, but it was also so timely, because I just was in a space of like, man, forget these men. I'm gonna be solo dolo. And I could have just continued on that path, which I am continuing on that path. But her story of like, okay, meet a dude, meet his friend, then get his daddy, was the kind of mess I needed at the time. And I'm so grateful that my book club book was You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, because I enjoyed it and I recommend it to every person that I come across. Also really enjoyed The Death of Vivek OG, because homosexuality in the Nigerian community is not something that's talked about, nor is it highlighted or spoken about. And then even further, we're talking about transgender, or changing your physical appearance to be a different gender. I don't know, I guess. Nonetheless, I thought it was such a great rendering of expressing how you have to love on your people regardless. And you have to experience people how they want to be experienced. You can't control them. You can't live for them. You can't do anything except for enjoy them. And I thought that was a beautiful book. I enjoyed it. I ended up reading The Death of Vivek OG after reading You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, because I enjoyed her writing so much in that book, which led me to that. And I'm glad I did. And so I'm looking for the next one. That is just a brief overview of many of the books that I enjoyed this year so far. Many of these books have their own review, which you can find somewhere in this channel. I tend to review most of the books I read, not all of them. Some of them I just don't want to get into it. But nonetheless, I post everything I read on Candace with a K Read, so you should follow that. And make sure you should do what? Hit the subscribe button, like this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.